The observation deck was silent, save for the low hum of energy from the station's defense systems. Beyond the reinforced glass, the Terran fleet drifted closer through the void, moving with an eerie precision that made even the most seasoned council members uneasy. The ships were black, sleek and angular, with faint markings of Earth's old emblems etched along their hulls. They carried no signals, emitted no chatter, and yet their presence was undeniable, almost commanding. Commander Rethan stood at the center of the deck, 3 arms folded over his chest. His silver eyes tracked every ship, noting the patterns, the spacing, the exact timing of their approach. "They move as one," he said quietly. "Every maneuver is synchronized. They are not only here, but they are aware. They are testing us or observing us. Perhaps both." Velira stepped forward, feathers bristling with curiosity and caution. "They are silent, yes, but our sensors suggest no weapons are armed. No hostile energy signatures detected." Rethan did not answer immediately. He was studying the fleet with a growing unease. "We have lived under their protection for centuries, yet we know so little of them. The humans we feared, the humans we thought gone, they have returned, and now we see just how far their foresight extends." Clear, the historian, adjusted the archives hovering in front of him. "Commander, I have cross-referenced all known Terran ship designs with this fleet. Every detail matches the records of the Terran Defense Force. This fleet has not only survived, but it has evolved. Advanced propulsion, stealth systems beyond anything we possess, and tactical formations that respond instantly to changing conditions. Their technology is beyond our comprehension." Council members whispered among themselves. Many had heard of the Terran fleet from history lessons and old records, but seeing them now was different. History had turned to legend, and legend had returned as reality. Rethan turned to the tactical officer, whose 3 eyes blinked rapidly as he processed the incoming data. "What is their current trajectory?" he asked. "They are aligning with the outer perimeter of our station, Commander," the officer replied. "Not an attack formation, but a deliberate encirclement. Defensive, perhaps, or observational. They are not engaging, but they are controlling the space around us." Velira's voice was tense. "Commander, if they intend to observe, perhaps we should prepare a greeting. Show our intentions are peaceful. They may respond better if we approach with respect." Rethan considered her suggestion, nodding slowly. "Very well. Prepare the Council's communication channels, but proceed cautiously. Any false signal, any misstep, we must assume they could neutralize us instantly." Technicians scrambled to comply. Holographic consoles blinked as they prepared the communication array, the station's energy flowing into the transmission systems. Messages were queued in multiple languages, each encoded with the politeness and formality expected of a first encounter. And yet Rethan felt a gnawing worry. The humans might not respond as expected. They were not like any species the Council had dealt with before. From the observation deck, the Terran fleet seemed almost alive. Every ship moved with purpose, adjusting their positions as if aware of the Council's every thought. No one spoke, yet the tension in the room was palpable. Clyar leaned closer to Rethan, voice quiet. "Commander, the archives mention a subroutine embedded in all systems built or influenced by humans. It is called the Primary Defense Directive. When triggered, it overrides all local commands. Weapons, shields, drones, everything. It is programmed to protect humans above all else. If these ships are human, or controlled by humans, our systems will not and cannot harm them." Rethan's arms tightened over his chest. "Then they hold absolute control without even being in the station." He paused, taking a slow breath. "We must assume caution in every step. Even one miscalculation could be catastrophic." Velira glanced at the fleet, her golden feathers shimmering under the observation deck lights. "They have not attacked. That could mean trust, or it could mean strategy. We cannot assume peace simply because they have remained quiet." The station's defense systems continued their strange dance. Shields shimmered into place around the station. Drones patrolled areas beyond visible sight, and railguns rotated silently, ready for action. Yet all of it ignored the approaching fleet. The humans, or whatever force guided these ships, were considered allies. Clyar activated a historical simulation to illustrate the past encounters with humans. Holograms of battle formations and fleet movements flickered in the air. "Look at this," he said. "This was their strategy during the Unity Wars. The humans could anticipate enemy movements before sensors even detected them. Their speed, coordination, and precision were unmatched. And now even their ships return after centuries. Their presence alone commands our systems. Billera frowned. Centuries of planning, and still they survive. They left us peace and protection while remaining hidden. But why return now? What is so urgent that they would reappear after all this time? The question hung in the air. No one had an answer. Not the historians, not the commanders, not the diplomats. The truth of their return was unknown, and the council could only wait and watch. Suddenly, the communication consoles flickered. Every channel attempted to send messages simultaneously. No response, the lead technician reported. Every attempt is either blocked or ignored. They are deliberately silent. Rethan clenched his fists. Deliberately. They are testing us, observing our reaction. Every move we make is under scrutiny. This is not a simple return. This is a calculated statement. Clyar nodded. And one we have little control over. Their technology predates anything we can rival. Even our defenses are now aligned with them, not us. We are observers in our own domain. Valeira stepped closer to the observation deck glass, watching the fleet's movements. They are almost graceful. Every ship moves in harmony. Like an extension of one mind. Rethan's voice was firm. Exactly. We must approach carefully, with respect, without panic, without assumption. They are not just humans as we remember them. They are the culmination of centuries of intelligence, strategy, and foresight. To them, we are minor players. The council members gathered around the central console, analyzing every movement. Some speculated the fleet was scouting. Others suggested reconnaissance, perhaps testing the station's defenses or observing how the council had adapted during their absence. Yet all agreed on one thing. These humans had planned far ahead of any expectations. Minutes stretched into hours. The Terran fleet continued its silent advance, encircling the station in a wide perimeter. They emitted no signals, no signs of hostility, and yet every member of the council could feel the weight of their presence. The black ships were a reminder of power lost, of history remembered, and of control that was never truly theirs. Clyar turned to Rethan, pointing at the holographic display. Commander, note the pattern. Each ship mirrors the others perfectly. Any deviation is immediately corrected. They are observing us, yes, but they are also teaching our systems, or testing them. This is impressive beyond anything we have seen in centuries. Rethan nodded slowly. Then we must respond not with aggression, but with caution and readiness. Let us show awareness of their presence, but not fear. Any misstep could provoke a reaction, and we cannot control the outcome. Valeira's voice carried both awe and apprehension. They have returned not as conquerors, but as forces we cannot challenge. The question remains, what do they want? The answer was not simple. Even the most advanced council archives could not predict human motives. Humans had always been unpredictable, and now, after centuries of silence, that unpredictability was amplified. They had survived wars, navigated hostile systems, and vanished for generations, yet returned, silent, precise, and unyielding. As the fleet drifted closer, Rethan felt the weight of history pressing on him. Humanity, long thought gone, had returned not for vengeance, not for conquest, but for a purpose the council could only guess at. Their presence reshaped the balance of power, revealing the fragility of the galaxy's order and the enduring strength of a species once underestimated. The observation deck's lights reflected off the black hulls of the Terran fleet. It was a reminder. The humans were not merely back. They were watching, waiting, and commanding respect without a single word, and the council could do nothing but wait. Time moved slowly in the chamber. Every member understood that the next move would define not only their fate, but potentially the fate of the galaxy. The humans had returned, and with their return came the silent authority of a species that history had feared, respected and ultimately forgotten. Outside the reinforced glass, the fleet continued its steady advance, each ship a testament to centuries of planning, endurance, and intelligence. The council could only watch, realizing that the galaxy's true power had returned, and it was human. The observation deck was quiet, but the tension in the council chamber had reached its peak. For hours, the Terran fleet had hovered outside the station, neither attacking nor signaling. Yet their presence was a force no one could ignore. The council members sat in silence, watching the black, sleek ships shimmer faintly against the void. Every movement, every adjustment of the fleet was precise, a silent demonstration of intelligence and power that dwarfed the council's authority. Commander Rethan stood at the center of the chamber, his 3 arms folded over his chest. His eyes, silver and calm, scanned the fleet one last time before speaking. "Council members," he said, "we have waited. We have watched. And now we must face the truth. The humans are not here as they once were, nor as we remember them. They have returned as masters of strategy and technology, as creators of the systems that have protected us for centuries. And now they demand recognition, and our obedience in subtle ways." Ambassador Valera took a hesitant step forward. "Commander, they have not fired a shot. Perhaps they do not intend harm. Maybe this is a test to see if we respect them as we should." Rethan nodded slowly. "Perhaps, or perhaps they intend to teach us something. Humans operate in ways we cannot predict. Their history shows foresight beyond anything our archives can measure. We must proceed with caution, respect, and patience." Suddenly, a calm voice echoed through every communication channel simultaneously. It was human. The voice of a commander, firm, clear, and authoritative. "Council of Worlds," the voice said. "Your peace has been maintained by our systems for centuries. You have forgotten, yet relied upon, the work of those you once feared. We are the Guardians. We have returned, not for conquest, but for guidance. Stand down and listen." A collective shiver ran through the chamber. Every member of the council understood the power behind those words. The humans were not threatening, yet there was authority in their tone that demanded attention. It was impossible to ignore. Rethan's voice was steady but careful. "We hear you. Council members acknowledge your presence and authority. Please speak clearly. Tell us why you have returned." The human commander's voice continued, calm yet commanding. "We left this galaxy long ago because we chose to observe, to protect, and to allow the galaxy to grow without interference. Our systems were designed to safeguard our species and ensure survival through any era of uncertainty. You have lived in safety, under our protection without knowing it. That was intentional." Valera's golden feathers bristled. "Intentional. They planned this for centuries?" She whispered. "Yes," Clear said, voice low and awed. "They foresaw the future. Every defense system, every security measure, every drone and shield was designed to obey them. Not to serve you, not to serve the Council, to protect humans above all else." The human commander continued. "We return now because a new threat approaches, one our defenses alone cannot contain. Our purpose is not to dominate nor to punish, but to prepare. The Council must understand that the galaxy has changed, and that cooperation is necessary. You will follow our guidance to ensure survival for all species." A murmur spread through the chamber. Council members whispered questions and fears, but none dared challenge the authority in the human voice. The Terran fleet remained still outside, an imposing reminder that these humans were not to be underestimated. Rethan raised his hands for silence. "Council members, hear this clearly. Humanity has returned not as conquerors, not as tyrants, but as guides and guardians. Our systems, our defenses, even our perceived control, all are now aligned with them. We are witnessing not a threat, but a new order that demands respect and cooperation." Clear added, his glowing veins pulsing with awe. "Centuries ago, humans left behind a legacy beyond mere technology. They left strategy, foresight, and wisdom embedded in every system they touched. Now, centuries later, they have returned to ensure that legacy continues. We must learn from them, not fight them." The Council fell silent, absorbing the weight of history and the return of a species once feared. For generations, humans had been seen as unpredictable, dangerous, almost mythic, and now they had returned, proving that the galaxy's order had never truly been theirs to command. Valera's voice was tentative but firm. "Then we should meet them, Commander. We should show that the Council acknowledges their return, and that we are ready to cooperate. They must know we respect the history and foresight of humanity." Rethan nodded. "Agreed, prepare the Council's delegation. We will meet them in the central chamber under neutral protocol. Every communication must be clear, every action deliberate. We will not presume control, nor will we act impulsively. Humanity has returned. They are not to be challenged, only understood." As the delegation prepared, the Terran fleet maintained its silent perimeter. The black ships glinted faintly, unyielding yet almost ceremonial in their precision. They were not aggressive, yet every council member felt the weight of their presence. Every movement, every adjustment of their formation seemed to communicate strategy, history, and purpose. Clear turned to Rethan with a faint smile. "Commander, this is history in motion. We are witnessing the return of a species that shaped the galaxy in ways we only thought we understood, and now we have the chance to learn from them directly." The council delegation, composed of Rethan, Valera, Clayar, and other key members, moved carefully to the central chamber. The room's lighting shifted as the communication channels were activated, holograms shimmering with faint blue light. Outside, the Terran fleet remained still, a silent audience watching and waiting. Then the human commander spoke again, voice calm and deliberate. "Council of Worlds, our return is not for punishment. We have no desire for conflict. Our goal is preparation. The galaxy faces challenges greater than any single species can handle alone. Our defenses have served as a shield, but they cannot face this new era without cooperation. Humanity returns to guide, to prepare, and to ensure the survival of life across the stars." The message settled over the chamber like a wave. The council members realized the enormity of what was happening. Humans thought lost had returned not for conquest but for guidance and protection. Their intelligence, foresight, and authority were unmatched and their expectations clear. The council must learn, respect, and act in coordination. Valera stepped forward, feathers shimmering. "We acknowledge your return. The council is ready to cooperate. Teach us what we must know. Guide us as you see fit. Humanity's wisdom, long forgotten, will not be ignored again." The human voice paused, then spoke once more, steady and commanding. "Very well. We will begin with understanding. First, you must accept that your defenses, your fleets, and your stations are under our guidance. They are tools to protect all life, but they will obey human directive first. You must adapt, learn, and cooperate. Only then can you face what is coming." Rethan bowed slightly. "We understand. The council accepts your guidance. Teach us, and we will follow to ensure the safety of the galaxy." A low hum spread through the chamber as the Terran fleet outside adjusted its formation slightly, a subtle signal of acknowledgement. For the first time, communication was established not through words alone but through action. The humans had returned not as conquerors, not as tyrants, but as masters of strategy, foresight, and survival. The council members stood in awe. The weight of centuries pressed upon them, yet there was hope. Humanity's return promised guidance, strength, and protection, and the galaxy would not face the coming challenges alone. Clear's voice, soft but filled with wonder, broke the silence. "Commander, do you realize what this means? We have lived for centuries thinking we were masters, thinking we were in control. Yet all along the humans ensured our survival, and now they return to lead." Rethan nodded. "Yes, historian. And now we must learn. Humanity has returned not for war, not for vengeance, but to command respect and guide us. It is time we listened." The chamber was quiet, but the council felt a new sense of purpose. The humans had returned, and with them came the promise of knowledge, protection, and unity. The galaxy's future was uncertain, but for the first time in centuries, the council knew they were not facing it alone. Outside, the Terran fleet maintained its silent vigil. Black ships gleamed faintly under distant stars, an unyielding reminder of the power, strategy, and foresight of a species once thought lost. Humanity had returned. They had reclaimed their legacy, and the council and the galaxy would follow. And for the first time, the council felt not fear but respect, awe, and hope. Humanity was back, and with them came the command of the stars. The research station hovered quietly above the alien planet's dusty surface, a metallic structure glowing faintly against the twilight sky. Inside, Dr. Leora Haynes tapped the final sequence into the console. Her fingers danced over the controls with careful precision, but even as she worked, her mind raced with unease. Opening a portal to another world was no small feat, and Earth, so close yet unreachable until now, was a risk unlike any they had faced. "Are we ready?" she asked, her voice steady despite the tension. Around her, the team of scientists nodded, their faces lit by the soft glow of the instruments. Each of them knew the risks. Portals were unpredictable. Even the smallest miscalculation could be disastrous. "Coordinates confirmed," said Dr. Raylan, the station's lead engineer. "Temporal alignment is stable. Energy reserves are optimal. We can begin. Leora took a deep breath and activated the portal sequence. A hum filled the room, low at first and then growing louder, vibrating through the metal floors and into their bones. Light shimmered in the center of the lab, twisting and folding as if reality itself had taken a deep breath. Slowly, the shimmer expanded, forming a perfect circular doorway. Through it, the team could see the blue oceans and green lands of Earth, calm and inviting. A collective gasp filled the room. Even after years of study and preparation, no one had expected the sight to feel so real, so immediate. They were looking at home from across the stars, and it was beautiful. Impressive, Raylan whispered. But remember, it's a window, not a bridge. We can't step through yet, not safely. Leora nodded. This is just the beginning. Observations first, then controlled tests. We cannot risk contamination on either side. For hours, they monitored the portal. Instruments measured energy fluctuations, gravitational distortions, and temporal stability. Everything seemed perfect. The portal held. But as the sun dipped below the horizon of the alien world, a sudden jolt ran through the station. The portal wavered, the blue light flickering like a dying flame. Alarms blared. What's happening? Leora shouted, rushing to the console. Raylan's hands flew over the controls. Energy spike. Something's coming through. The team froze as the portal shifted, distorting into a whirl of chaotic colors. From its depths, shapes began to emerge, not human, but not entirely alien either. They moved with a strange intelligence, as though studying the scientists as closely as the scientists were studying them. Containment protocols, Leora ordered. Red lights flashed, warning barriers activating automatically around the portal. But the shapes weren't deterred. They seemed to anticipate the barriers, halting just before they could touch them. One figure, taller than the rest, stepped forward. It shimmered, its form unstable yet solid enough to be understood. It had a humanoid shape, but its skin reflected the portal's light like liquid metal. Its eyes, if they could be called eyes, focused on Leora. A silent connection formed in that instant, a deep, inexplicable awareness. They're intelligent, whispered Raylan. They understand us. Leora swallowed, trying to steady her racing heart. We need to close the portal now. Negative, Raylan said sharply. The energy spike, if we shut it down abruptly, it could destabilize the entire station. We have to manage it slowly, or we risk collapse. The team watched in tense silence as the figures stepped closer, hovering at the edge of the portal. One of them raised a hand or a hand-like structure, and a beam of light shot toward the station. It didn't harm them but touched the instruments, sending data streaming across their monitors in patterns none of them had ever seen. They're communicating through energy, Leora realized. They're trying to tell us something. Raylan frowned. Or warn us. Maybe both. We don't know if this is friendly. The station's AI, calm and methodical, interjected. Warning, portal instability increasing. Recommended action, full containment or energy redistribution. Leora looked at the AI, then back at the portal. We can't close it yet. We don't understand them. We have to listen first. The figures paused as if acknowledging her decision. Then, almost in unison, they stepped back into the portal and vanished. The swirling colors stilled, leaving a calm blue circle once more. But the sense of urgency lingered. The portal's edges flickered unpredictably, a reminder that their control was fragile. Hours passed. The scientists documented every detail, capturing images, recording energy readings, and speculating about the visitors. Sleep was impossible. Each team member remained vigilant, knowing the portal could act at any moment. In the quiet moments, Leora stared at the portal and wondered what Earth's response would be if it knew what was happening. Governments, militaries, scientists, all of them would want to control this, to study it, to weaponize it. And yet here, on this distant world, it was a bridge, not a battlefield. The first night ended without incident, but as dawn approached, the portal shimmered again. This time the energy spikes were stronger, faster, more erratic. Alarms echoed through the station. They're back, Raylan muttered. And they're angry? Figures emerged, more numerous than before. Their movements were precise, almost choreographed. The tallest one stepped forward, then emitted a pulse of energy that washed over the station. The lights flickered, and suddenly, the scientists' devices displayed visions, images of Earth in chaos, natural disasters, war zones, polluted skies. They're showing us what could happen, Leora said. her voice barely audible. Or what has already happened, they want us to understand consequences. Raylan's hands trembled on the console. We're meddling with forces we don't understand. This portal, it's not just a door. It's a warning. Leora nodded, her mind racing. Then we listen. We document. And we prepare. The figures withdrew once again, leaving the portal calm. But the station's sensors detected a lingering energy, like a heartbeat, reminding the team that the portal was alive, aware and unpredictable. Over the next few days, the scientists studied the portal endlessly. The figures returned in patterns, sometimes communicating through pulses of light, sometimes through visions of Earth. Each encounter was a puzzle, a test of patience and intelligence. Leora and her team began to realize that the portal was more than a technological marvel. It was a teacher, a messenger, and perhaps a guardian. Yet as they worked, a nagging fear grew. The portal's instability was increasing. Energy readings were spiking beyond predicted limits. Every attempt to stabilize it felt temporary, like holding back a storm with bare hands. One evening, Leora stood before the portal alone. The alien world's twin moons hung low in the sky, casting silvery shadows across the lab. The portal shimmered faintly, and for a moment it felt like a calm eye in a vast storm. She whispered, "We wanted to see Earth, but now I'm not sure we can control what we've unleashed." A pulse of light rippled from the portal, and for a brief instant she felt a connection, not just to the visitors, but to the Earth itself. The planet was calling, warning, pleading, and Leora understood the weight of responsibility. The portal was open, and the world beyond it was watching. For the first time, she truly feared the day they might fail to close it. The next morning, the research station buzzed with tension. The team had barely slept, each scientist haunted by the visions the alien figures had shown them the previous night. Earth, as they knew it, was fragile, and now a portal they had opened threatened to unravel more than they could control. Dr. Leora Haynes paced the lab, her mind racing through possible solutions. The portal pulsed faintly in the center of the room, a living doorway to a world they had long only dreamed of visiting. Its hum filled the air, low and constant, like a heartbeat warning them of unseen danger. "We can't ignore this anymore," she said finally, turning to the team. "The instability is increasing. The last energy spike nearly knocked out our containment shields. If it escalates further—" Her voice trailed off, but the unspoken words hung heavy in the air. "Disaster." Dr. Raylan nodded grimly. "I've run multiple simulations. Each one predicts eventual collapse if we don't intervene. The portal is learning. Every adjustment we make, it responds differently. It's almost as if it knows our intentions." The youngest scientist, Mara, spoke hesitantly. "Do you think the the figures are trying to help us? Or is this a trap?" Leora considered her question. The aliens had not attacked, but they had shown visions of Earth's devastation. "I think it's a warning," she said slowly. "They're showing us what could happen if we misuse this technology. But warnings are only useful if we listen carefully, and right now we need more information." Raylan swiveled in his chair, scanning the portal's fluctuating energy readings. "Information is one thing. Control is another. We can observe, yes, but every attempt to stabilize it seems to make it more aware. It's as if the portal itself has intelligence." Leora frowned. "Then we need to approach it differently. Not just as a machine to fix, but as something alive. Something that communicates in ways we can't fully understand yet." Hours passed as the team implemented Leora's plan. Instead of trying to suppress the portal's energy, they began to interact with it, sending pulses of light, rhythmic vibrations, even patterned sound waves. Each attempt was a cautious negotiation, and slowly, the portal began to respond. The first clear sign came when one of the alien figures appeared, hovering just inside the doorway. Its metallic form shimmered softly, and this time there was no sudden surge of energy or alarming spike. It seemed curious. Leora stepped forward, speaking gently. "We mean no harm. We want to understand. We want to work together." The figure tilted its head, or at least what could be interpreted as a head. Then a sequence of lights flowed across its body. Bright flashes, pulses, and subtle waves of color. The scientists watched in awe as their instruments recorded the patterns. For the first time, the portal's activity felt like a conversation rather than a warning. Mara whispered, "It's beautiful." Raylan nodded, still cautious, and potentially dangerous. We don't know what it means. For the next several hours, the team tried to decipher the alien signals. Slowly, a pattern emerged. The figures weren't just showing images of Earth. They were providing guidance. There were hints about energy thresholds, warnings about instability, and sequences that seemed to indicate how to manage the portal's growing power. It's teaching us, Leora said quietly. Not just about the portal, but about responsibility. But just as hope began to settle over the lab, a sudden jolt shook the station. Alarms screamed as the portal flared violently, bright blue and white light spilling over the lab. Instruments went haywire and the containment barriers struggled to hold. Something's coming through, Raylan shouted, panic edging his voice. Figures emerged again, more numerous than before. This time their movements were faster, almost frantic. They didn't attack, but their energy pulses struck the station, disrupting systems and sending sparks flying from consoles. The scientists scrambled to maintain control. Leora shouted over the alarms. Focus, stabilize the portal. Use the sequences, their instructions. Mara hesitated, unsure which signals to follow. There are too many of them. I don't know which pattern to use. Trust the rhythm, Leora yelled. Just follow the light pulses, match their energy. Gradually, the team synchronized with the alien signals. The chaotic energy calmed slightly, and the portal stabilized enough to prevent immediate disaster. But the threat remained. Every moment the portal stayed open, it became more unpredictable. The tallest figure emerged again, extending what could be described as a limb toward Leora. A stream of light connected to her mind, not physically but as a sensation, images, emotions, and warnings flowing directly into her consciousness. Do you see it? She gasped. Earth, our world. It's fragile. This portal, it's a bridge we cannot take lightly. The figure withdrew, leaving a lingering sense of urgency. Leora turned to her team, her eyes wide with understanding. We can't just open this portal and observe anymore. We need a plan to control it or close it before it overwhelms us. Raylan shook his head. We barely understand it. Any attempt to close it abruptly could destroy the station. Or worse. Then we find a way to manage it, Leora said firmly. Step by step. Interaction, observation, guidance. We learn from them, not fight them. Days passed, each filled with careful interaction and study. The portal became a delicate dance between the humans and the alien visitors. Patterns of energy, light, and motion were recorded, tested, and applied in real time. Slowly, the team began to understand. The portal wasn't simply a doorway, it was a living system, responding to intent, energy, and awareness. One morning, while the station rested in the alien world's soft twilight, Mara approached Leora with a worried expression. Dr. Haynes, I think I see a problem. The energy readings, they're rising again, faster than before. Even with the sequences, the portal seems impatient. Leora frowned, staring at the blue shimmer. Impatient? Yes, Mara said. It's like it's pushing for something. Not just communication, access, something more. Raylan added. I've seen similar behavior in unstable quantum systems, but this feels different. Almost like the portal is alive, and it has its own intentions. Leora turned to the glowing circle of light, her heart pounding. Then we need to be very careful. Every action we take now could trigger a chain reaction. We need a plan that considers not just the portal's stability, but its awareness. That night, Leora couldn't sleep. She wandered the lab, staring at the portal, thinking about Earth and the responsibility they carried. The visions the aliens had shown, destruction, chaos, and warnings, were not just random images. They were guidance, lessons encoded in energy and light. And yet the portal's growing instability hinted at a deeper problem, one that no human mind could fully predict. Suddenly, the portal pulsed violently, startling her. Figures appeared inside, moving faster than before. The light they emitted was intense, almost blinding, and Leora realized they were attempting to communicate urgency, something beyond their previous warnings. Rushing to the console, she activated the sequences she had memorized. The team joined her, following the patterns of light and energy. Slowly, the chaos subsided, the portal stabilizing once more. But the message was clear. Time was running out. They're showing us. Earth is in danger, Leora whispered. Not just because of us opening the portal, but because of what the portal represents. We cannot delay action. Raylan's face was pale. You mean, we have to decide whether to keep it open or close it? Yes, Leora said. And we have to do it soon. If we wait too long, it might close on its own, or worse, collapse entirely. And if it collapses, everything we've built could be destroyed, including us. The portal shimmered softly, almost contemplatively. For the first time, Leora felt something resembling understanding from the figures within. It was not trust. Not exactly, but acknowledgement. They recognized the human's intent, not perfect, not entirely wise, but genuine. We learn. We act. And we respect what we do not yet understand, Leora said. That's the only way forward. Outside, the alien world's twin moons cast long silver shadows over the station. Inside, the portal pulsed faintly like a living heartbeat. And the humans, small yet determined, prepared to navigate the most dangerous bridge ever built. Between worlds. Between understanding and chaos, and between Earth and the unknown. The portal had been opened. And now, closing it or controlling it would be the challenge of their lives. The portal hummed through the station like a restless heartbeat. Leora Haynes stood before it, her hand lightly resting on the console as if she could feel its energy pulsing beneath her fingertips. The alien world outside was calm, its dusty plains bathed in a soft orange light from the twin suns. Yet inside, the lab was tense, filled with the quiet hum of instruments and the occasional alarm warning of surges. Readings are off the charts again, Raylan muttered, eyes glued to the monitor. The energy spikes are faster, stronger. If this continues, the station might not withstand the next pulse. Leora nodded, though her mind was elsewhere. The portal had been behaving strangely for days, almost as if it was responding to something beyond their control. The alien figures had returned again, their forms shimmering in the doorway. They moved with urgent precision, emitting pulses of light that danced across the lab walls. Mara, standing beside Leora, whispered, "They look worried." "Yes," Leora replied, "and that's what scares me the most. If they are worried, then what we're dealing with might be worse than we imagined." The team worked tirelessly, attempting to stabilize the portal using the sequences the alien figures had communicated. They matched pulses, synchronized vibrations, and carefully adjusted energy levels. Slowly, the portal's violent flares calmed, leaving a steady, mesmerizing blue circle. For a brief moment, relief washed over the scientists, but it was short-lived. The portal pulsed again, this time sending a shockwave through the station. Sparks flew from consoles, and several instruments toppled from their mounts. "What now?" Mara cried, ducking beneath a control panel. Raylan scrambled to stabilize the readings. "Something is moving through it, something bigger than before." Before their eyes, the portal expanded slightly, its edges rippling like liquid glass. A figure emerged, larger than any they had seen, its form radiating energy that warped the air around it. It stepped forward, and the station's alarms shrieked in protest, registering the intensity of the energy. Leora raised her hands, trying to calm the situation. "We are not your enemies," she called. "We want to understand." The figure halted, and then, impossibly, it extended a glowing appendage toward the team. This time, the energy that connected to them wasn't just warning. It was knowledge, understanding. Leora felt images flood her mind. Earth in peril, civilizations on the brink of conflict, and the consequences of unchecked power. "They're showing us the future," Leora gasped. "Or a possible future." Raylan's eyes widened. "We need to document this." "Every detail." Mara, overwhelmed, clutched her tablet. "It's too much. I can't process it all." Leora nodded. "No one can, but we must try. Every pulse, every pattern, they are lessons. And we have to learn quickly before it's too late." For the next several hours, the team observed, recorded, and attempted to decipher the energy patterns. The alien figures remained in the portal, communicating through light and motion, guiding the humans in subtle, almost imperceptible ways. By late evening, a plan began to take shape. Leora gathered her team around the central console. "We know now that the portal is not just a doorway. It's a living system, aware and responsive. It reacts to intent, energy, and caution. If we want to control it, or at least manage it, we must respect that intelligence." Raylan leaned over the console, rubbing his temples. "Respect is one thing. Survival is another. We don't have the luxury of ignoring the danger. One misstep in this station, maybe even the portal itself, could collapse." Leora's eyes were steady. Then we proceed with care, step by step. Observation, interaction, guidance. We learn from them, not fight them. And we prepare for every eventuality. As they worked, a new problem arose. The portal's energy readings began to spike unpredictably. The figures inside shifted and pulsed, their movements faster and more urgent. Leora felt it in her chest, a sense of warning stronger than anything before. "They're trying to tell us something," she said, voice tight with urgency. "We have to pay attention now." The portal suddenly expanded and a surge of energy rippled through the lab. The station's AI screamed warnings and instruments began to fail under the pressure. Sparks erupted from panels and the floor vibrated beneath their feet. The figures moved in precise patterns trying to communicate, but the chaos made it difficult to understand. Leora's mind raced. "Focus on the sequences. Synchronize with the pulses. We can stabilize it if we work together." The team obeyed, working in perfect coordination. Lights flashed in patterns across the lab. Machines hummed in resonance, and slowly the portal calmed. But the strain was visible on everyone's faces. Exhaustion, fear, and awe mixed together as they stared at the blue circle, now steady but still threatening in its potential. Mara whispered, "It's like it's alive." "Yes," Leora said softly, "and we are just beginning to understand what that means." The next day, the portal began to affect the outside world. Tiny ripples of energy leaked through the doorway, causing changes in the alien environment. Dust swirled unnaturally, small rock formations lifted and floated, and electrical storms began to form over distant plains. Raylan frowned. "The portal is influencing this planet. It's more than a doorway. It's a connection, a bridge, and bridges can collapse if overloaded." Leora's eyes were fixed on the shimmering blue circle. "Then we must act carefully. We can't just close it abruptly, but we also can't leave it open without control. Every action must be precise, every decision deliberate." The figures inside the portal pulsed with increasing intensity, moving in patterns that seemed almost like a dance. Leora realized that their behavior was not just communication, it was a demonstration. They were showing the humans how to manage the energy flow, how to maintain balance, and how to respect the portal's intelligence. Hours turned into days as the team followed these lessons, experimenting with adjustments and interactions. Slowly, they began to stabilize the portal, using the alien guidance to maintain a delicate equilibrium. Yet, tension remained. Each day brought new challenges: energy spikes, environmental effects, and the ever-present knowledge that Earth was waiting on the other side weighed heavily on them. Leora felt the responsibility like a physical weight pressing on her shoulders. Late one night, she stood alone before the portal. The alien world's twin moons cast silver light across the lab. The portal pulsed softly, almost rhythmically, as if acknowledging her presence. "They're teaching us," she whispered, "but time is short, and the consequences of failure are too great to imagine." A pulse of light rippled from the portal, and Leora felt a wave of understanding wash over her. Not just information, but emotion, urgency, care, warning, hope. The portal was alive, aware, and aware of them. She turned to her team, who had gathered quietly behind her. "We have to proceed," she said, "step by step. We respect what we do not understand. We learn, and we act. That's the only way we survive, and maybe, just maybe, we can protect both worlds." Outside, the alien landscape remained calm under the twin moons. Inside, the portal shimmered, alive with possibility and danger. The humans were small, fragile, and yet determined, standing before a bridge between worlds, between knowledge and chaos, and between hope and disaster. The portal had been opened, and now the true test had begun.